video is brought to you by Ridge Wallet, this incredible wallet. Guys, it's light, it's sleek, it's industrial, and it doesn't fold or awkwardly bulge out of your back pocket. It's seriously changed my whole pocket game. If you've moved on from the flip phone, it's time to let the 90s style wallet that your dad uses behind. Ridge Wallets hold up to 12 cards, plus all the cash you need. You can choose from over 30 colors and styles, including carbon fiber or mine, burnt titanium. It's the best wallet you can buy, and you don't have to just take old Chael's word for it because there's 30,000 five-star reviews. And I was skeptical at first, but once you try it, you'll never go back to your old wallet, and there's no pressure. Test it out for 45 days. If you don't love it, send it back, get a full refund. If you decide to keep it, there is a lifetime warranty. Click on the link in the description to get 10% off today with free worldwide shipping and returns. Go to ridge.com/Chael. That's ridge.com/Chael and use the promo code Chael. Jon Jones and company, right? By company, his trainers, his managers, anybody that's got their hand in the pocket and would really like to see him fight again. They're really banging the drum on the same topic, which is he's better today. Bigger, stronger, while keeping the speed, right? Physiological impossibilities, but they're saying it, and I don't blame them. I think they're doing everything right in that regard. At some point, we're going to have to put a straight arm. Stop. There has never been a human being to be a better athlete at 33 than they were 23. Stop trying to sell that. And if you're so good, go out there and get your due like anybody else would. Like anybody else that had a skill, they would go out and get recognized for it. They would not just have a couple of coaches saying it on Instagram and hope that Chael picks it up for a YouTube bit. They would go out and show you. And Dana had said something about a possibility of Stipe versus Jon Jones. I shared with you guys that I spoke with Team Stipe in the form of Mrs., and she said a possibility of Stipe versus Jon Jones. Jon then came out to say, I'm not going to do that. Now, he did say something interesting. I don't know if I like this or not. I might like this. I'm undecided. Let me tell you guys what it was. He said, I'll fight Stipe to defend my belt, but I'm coming in to win the belt. Can you do one without the other? Because it appears that you can't. And at some point, look, this thing doesn't get better with time. It gets worse and it gets weirder. And all we're going to have is the same stories of people with a financial interest saying that he looks better than ever. What if he does? Who cares? If he's better than ever, not as good, dead even, who cares? Can you beat the guy across from you? That's what this sport is about. It's not about how good are you or how are you feeling or how's that 20 pounds on you. Can you beat the guy across from you? That is the only adjudication that matters here, and that is the only thing that you will be judged and defined by. Not how good you were, not how good you felt, or how those deadlifts went. Can you beat that guy? And at some point, they're going to have to prove it. Look, if the answer is yes, they're just going to have to step in there and prove it, which in large part is what the opportunity to take on Stipe represented. If you're this damn good, man, we better match you up accordingly. Better bring in the number one contender. We better bring in the champion. We better get this right. And one of you goes off for the belt. Keep the rest of the boys safe in the back. That's a responsibility and a job that we have. Well, all of those things could have been fulfilled. That's what it represented. But Jon is now digging in and saying it's got to be for the belt. Now, I have to interpret that means that's Francis or Derek. He doesn't care. Somebody for the belt. Okay, I'm good with that, but those two are fighting, so when are we going to do this? For heaven's sakes, the best thing that we're left with is you and a couple of guys that are on the dole saying how good you are. The rest of the boys are out showing it, one way or the other, for better or worse, but they're showing it. It's not going to be too long until I'm going to have to make bits and tell you guys who Jon Jones is. Now, Jon doesn't see that. He doesn't know this reality. It will not be that long until I'm sitting here going, guys, there was once a guy. Man, was he special. Long, tall guy. Used to be a college wrestler. His name's Jon Jones. So skinny, they called him Bones, this guy. That's real, guys. In MMA, for me, there's nothing bigger than Randy Couture. When I came through the door my first day, he was standing there. Oh, by the way, he was the champion of the world. There was no one bigger. And Randy will tell me, yeah, I still got some guys that remember the memories, but for most part, no, I could walk through any MMA and it wouldn't be like before where I couldn't move an inch. There's someone new. I went through this on some level where, and this is going to sound arrogant, but just to tell the story, I couldn't move at MMA events, period. Could not get around. It would take me hours to get from wherever we were back to my room because all the fans would be there, particularly the MGM Grand. It took me 3 hours to walk this one time. It was just one of those things. You just couldn't move. Just so many fans. I used to tell people who Henry Cejudo was. I used to beg them to care and be interested. You've got to trust me. This guy, this is going to be the guy. The last time I was somewhere with Henry, I didn't get asked anything, not for an autograph, not for a picture, and we could not start work because the crowd was chanting Triple C too loud for us to be heard on ESPN. That's a true story. The guy who I was telling people about, where I was the voice to come out on this little guy, they were chanting Triple C so loud, we couldn't start the show. And as cool as that was for Henry, Henry's going to be telling the same story pretty soon. It just moves quickly. That's my point. When I say that things aren't going to get better for Jon as time goes by, that isn't to be a jerk. That isn't to take my usual cheap shot at Jon. It's the reality that you have to remind people often. There is a debate in absolutely everything. If LeBron misses 3 games, there will be people out there saying Durant is better. It's just, that's the way it goes, but that's the way that it should be. Otherwise, you're in a sport that stays stuck in the mud. It's like the people that are trying to argue that Jordan is better than LeBron. That's a popularity contest, and that's done through nostalgia. If Jordan is, in fact, better than LeBron, then that means basketball quit maturing in 1989, and that's not what happened. Of course the sport's getting better. Any real sport gets better. It's not going to be long until people don't want Jon. They want Provocavic. It's not going to be long until people don't want Derek, and they don't want Blades, and they don't want Stipe. Okay, so this isn't a preference thing. The sport just moves quick. The right guy, the right I could do more with 1 win and 2 shots on a microphone than any athlete could do 3 years of being undefeated. Get me 1 win and 2 cracks on the mic. I will go further. I will draw more, sell more, and move the needle more than anybody else. But I had a different set of skills. I just had a different set of skills. Those guys aren't on the horizon at heavyweight, apparently, right now. I know there's nobody that we're looking at. I know it looks like we got a really clear path, but those guys are never here until they're here. Conor McGregor was a dude with a weird accent and a bow tie. 3 fights later, he sold out an arena and he's never looked back. A weird accent and a bow tie. Today was named by Forbes magazine Earth's highest paid athlete of the year. It's one of those things. Nobody's the guy until he's the guy. Everything's smooth sailing. All of a sudden, you get a guy named Brock Lesnar says, you know what? I'm leaving the WWE. I'm coming over here. Well, guess what? Look out, every other top heavyweight, because we got to make a spot on the card for this monster. It's the way that it goes. And yes, the potential at heavyweight, I'm well aware. I'm well aware that there's a number of them that could replace NyQuil. I'm just sharing with you that guy's out there somewhere. And the more shows that go by or the more opportunity Jon gives him to come in and take that thunder. I think Prokoska's a great idea. Prokoska is a great example. I wasn't overly interested in the guy. I knew who he was because King Mo's my friend and they fought a couple of times. So I kind of followed him. I recognized he was good. Man, I can't really wait to see his next fight. Maybe more than any light heavyweight out there. I want to see Prokoska. See just how good is he? Just how far can he go? What more tricks does he have up his sleeve? And I think you guys can relate with that. We were starting to feel that with Chimaev just recently, right? That Chimaev experiment, man, that was a real thing, and it was awesome. But how quick did he do that? There's a guy, didn't quite go as far, but Gunnar Nelson. You guys remember Gunnar Nelson? He had that same level of, he busted in and everybody needed to know about Gunnar. He was absolutely stoic. He had a karate stance and he could get it done on the ground. He didn't care who he was fighting. He was training with Conor McGregor. He was very mysterious. I realized he didn't make it as far, but it was these same things. Johnny Walker, to use another example. The buzz around Johnny Walker is bigger than the buzz around anybody else right now, and it didn't work out. That's okay. I'm sharing with you how these things happen and how quickly they happen. Jon Jones was just some skinny kid that wrestled a little in college, and then all of a sudden he's throwing Stephen Bonner in a salto over the top. He's catching kicks and spinning into elbows, a technique that we just simply had never seen in the sport before. It happened very quick. One of the reasons that he was the youngest champion, I'm talking about Jon Jones, the youngest champion in UFC history, wasn't because he was the best, it's because he got the opportunity before anybody else. I mean, he came in hot and hard. I realized Jon's extended that. But I just remember those early days that when Jon hears this, maybe he can go, man, Chael's right. Not only is he right, I actually did that. Yeah, and then another thing, Jon extended. Take that part away, I'm absolutely defining Bones Jones at one point in his career. And that's never going to end. I don't know who's going to be selling the Nikes that the kids want at Christmas next year, but I can tell you it's whoever wins the Hodge Trophy or whoever wins the Heisman Trophy that's in a few months. And you get my point on that. Stars come really quickly. 1 year ago, you would have lost anything I let you bet if I told you the biggest star in boxing was going to be a duo of YouTubers named the Paul brothers. You'd have lost it all. And I wouldn't have won anything because I wouldn't have said it and I wouldn't have predicted it my damn self. Right? I mean, it's just one of those things, but stuff happens and it happens fast. And every day that Jon sets out, he at least gives the opportunity for somebody else to step in. Francis Ngannou's another one that got it done very quick. He came in, he looked the part, he was mysterious, he filled the weight class, and he had dynamite in his fist. But he got it done quick. If you go back in time and look at how fast Francis was to bust onto the scene and be a main event for the world title against Stipe Miocic the very first time, it might be the all-time record. There's more guys right now that Sean and Mick have signed. We don't know all the heavyweights they have. We haven't seen the field. We've seen a lot of them, but they have new ones signed that just haven't made their debut yet. Every day we let go by, it's one opportunity closer. I think that Jon and Stipe is a good idea. Jon seemed to have some arguments about the size. That was a big thing with him and his argument. That would be gone. He and Stipe would weigh the same. There's a chance Jon weighs in heavier than Stipe. There's a chance Stipe is 3 or 4 heavier than Jon. That's a wash. 3, 4, 5, even 10. It's a wash. Same thing. So it seems as though we could satisfy and fulfill a lot of the needs and requests of Jon Jones. And that we could do it quickly. And there was a real deadlock there on him going in and taking on Francis. Well, we don't have to do that. At least not first. Let's see how you are. Because all we have is your coaches saying you're really good. I appreciate that, but I need to know if you're better than him. That's the question. Not how quick you are, how strong you are. Are you quicker and stronger than him? One-on-one. And we got to get reminded of that. Jon came out and he did some tweets. He said he wasn't going to fight Stipe. Now, he has since deleted those tweets. I don't ever know how to interpret that either. If that's just good, solid trolling, then I support it because it works for me. When a guy deletes a tweet, I think, oh, he's deleting something that he didn't want us to know. He didn't mean to get it out there. Well, you could also just do it to make a guy curious. I used to do this on Twitter all the time. I would send a message to somebody and I would capitalize one of the words for no goddamn reason at all. And people would focus, they'd lock in, they'd speculate. Why did he capitalize that? It's a trick I learned from Paul Heyman. But just to make people guess, make people wonder. So maybe Jon's doing that. I like a good troll if that's what he's doing, but I don't know if that's what I believe that it is. I think maybe he changed his mind. He said he won't fight Stipe. Somebody got a hold of him and, hey, stop being so damn resistant to every idea the company that you're with comes up with. You can't resist them all. Resisting them all doesn't make you a great negotiator. It makes you unemployed. And that's the part where there gets to be a miss. You have these managers. Look, I just saw this. Nick Diaz's manager. Guys, see this? I tell you his name if I know it. I'd never heard of the gentleman before. But he came out and he was speaking. It was his Nick going to fight Chimaev. And the manager put out a statement stating 3 reasons why Khamzat Chimaev should not get the fight with Nick. 3 reasons. So, of course, you're sitting there going, look, man, you're new to this space. Old Chael's been around 20-some years. I don't recognize the name, and that isn't to pass judgment. I just haven't had a chance to say hello to the man yet. But you're still new to the space, or I would know the name, and I would have had said hello by now. You came out in a statement about your client, stating nothing about your client and 3 things about the other guy. Now, the other guy happens to be represented by a manager I have heard of, and so have you. His name is Ali. Ali would never put out a statement about his client stating nothing and putting 3 things about the other guy. Even if they were all negatives, Ali would never do that. If he was going to put out a statement and it was going to have 3 things in it, they all would have been positives about his guy. So coming out and making an argument for your client as to what's wrong with the idea that's been offered to you by the guy that's going to write the check does not make you good at managing. It makes your client unemployed.